this time. No more falls and no more climb. I don't want to be.
What's happening, good people? What's happening? Good evening, and welcome to yet again another special edition and episode of Success Factory. And as Mr. Followood said, we are not alone. I'm flanked by two of the leaders in network marketing, the network marketing industry, and we are here to discuss nothing else about just success. Really trying to break down, the aspects, the essential legs of success, and really what is it that really stands before us. So we're still in a very diagnostic stage, and one of the things that we just talked about is that one of the things that really attributes success is it's not a it's a mentality of being a student. And so it may seem like we have all the answers, and that's not the truth, right? We're still asking a lot of questions. We're still trying to grow ourselves, and so basically when we answer these, we want your feedback. You need to tell us what you think, but most importantly, please understand that we are also students of success. We will only answer based on what we know. What we don't know, we don't answer, right? And yeah, so today we want to deal with a topic, a topic of entitlement. So they're basically, we are called the sad generation. This generation, the millennial generation, we're called generation, and there's an element of entitlement, and this is why more than ever, right now there are more protests, that we have. We feel like we're entitled to this. We talk about rights. This is my right. This is my right, and as a consequence, economic liberation has become something that we feel we're entitled to. In fact, a lot of people feel like that that economic freedom is a human right and not something that you need to strive and work for and work towards. So so that's basically what I really want to talk about, especially amongst us young people. This is what we're deserving. We were wronged in this way, and therefore, because we are wronged in this way, X, A, B, C, D needs to be in place for us to become better people. What do you think about that, folks?
Well, evening and welcome, guys. So, as Nell said, one thing about the topic of success is the fact that we all know that what got us here won't get us, any further, right? So we need to constantly be learning and so forth. So now this topic is quite a topical topic.
A topical topic.
Yeah. So because of the fact that people have got many different opinions on this, and you're more than welcome to share your opinion on what you're going to be saying. We'll share our opinion, and whatever we share is not really cast in stone. We also asking questions, so you might say something in the comment section that might help us to maybe even change our whole view, right? So here it is. My view, on the issue of entitlement. I think we're living in one of the most exciting times in human history. And I was saying on the weekend that there's never been a time where there was so much prosperity on the planet than the era we're living in right now.
Oh yeah.
This era is abundant with opportunity, right? Because it's also abundant with challenges, right? So the more challenge that there is on the planet is actually, the more opportunity that there is. But here's a problem. The problem is that most of the people might not actually see the opportunities because they are being blinded by this thing called entitlement, right? Someone, was saying on Facebook today, I actually want to agree. I want to agree with people who say that economic freedom is a human right. I agree. Having a roof over your head, is a human right. I agree, right? But for a very long time, we've been told about rights, never about responsibility. Right? So yes, it's a human right for me to be financially free, but it's also my responsibility. Meaning, just because it's my right, it doesn't mean someone owes me financial freedom. It just simply means that it's something that's possible for me to actually go out there and get for myself, if I so desire, right? So it is a right in that way, not as a right because someone owes me economic freedom. Someone must build me a house. Someone must buy me a car. Someone must... Nobody owes me anything, right? So that's my view as far as this thing of human rights, right? It's my responsibility. If I want financial freedom, it's my responsibility. The day I bring a child into this world, they become a responsibility, right? And they become a responsibility up to a certain stage, right? Where they become adults, then they are their own responsibility, right? So unless they're incapacitated, whatever the case is, I like how the law actually looks at those things, right? Because the law does have, its own way of defining, things like that, right? A person can be my responsibility if they are incapacitated, right? So going back to the topic of entitlement, I think this robs us because, it doesn't get us to look at opportunities objectively, to look at the challenges and see what, can come out of the challenges. And by doing that, I think we are robbing our fellow human, men, because all of us are born with this innate ability, this God-given, talent, skills, and abilities that are unique to ourselves, right? So if I don't pursue those skills and abilities to the best of my ability, I'm actually robbing my fellow man. Do you understand? If Elon Musk did not build, the electric car, the millions of people he employs would not be employed today, right? There are thousands of businesses that actually supply, components to this business would not be here today. So us reaching our full potential is actually service to God and service to fellow humans.
Wow.
Right?
Yep.
So if we just get rid of this thing that somebody owes me something, and realize that if my parents, the people who gave birth to me, did not provide it for me, it means I must go out there and make it happen myself. And 86% of all the millionaires in the world are first generation millionaires. So it tells you that it's possible, for you to make it irrespective of where you come from.
Wow, Tamzi, what do you think about this whole concept? And I would like your view also from I'm not gonna condition you from what point of view I wanted to discuss it. Maybe I'll put it out there. But what is your take on this whole issue of entitlement?
This is an interesting topic of entitlement. Because when we talk about entitlement, we need to deal with different school of thought. Where does your worldview of entitlement comes from? Firstly, if you religious people, they've got their own view when it comes to entitlement.
Okay.
There are people that are religious people and they believe that they are entitled in terms of prosperity and success, and you culturally and also politically. People that are into politics, they believe that
they believe in entitlement.
I won't say that in entitlement, because when we say that we are fighting for freedom,
emancipation,
when we're fighting for something together for this agenda, we believe that when we've got that freedom, all of us, we're supposed to benefit. Without an understanding of saying that, what does it mean when we say that we're fighting for freedom? Because then entitlement comes hand in hand with the word freedom. Because freedom, what does the freedom mean? And to me, I always believe that we need to go to the original definition of terms. Because freedom, it means that 100% being liberated in every aspect of your life, holistically, not only financial. Because when we say that I'm supposed to have something holistically, because the entitlement is not only supposed to benefit when it comes to finances, but spiritually, socially, and so forth.
Yeah.
Whereby that needs supposed to be, as a person, in terms of your emotional thinking, you're supposed to be aware of when it comes to those things. But people, when we talk of an entitlement, we tend to say that when it comes to freedom, what about your spirituality? What about your social life? And to me, I believe that first and foremost, we need to know that as human beings, we are individuals. No one is created to be in control over another human being. We are individuals. As Lonobo have said earlier, said that my responsibility as a parent, it's my children. My children have every right to say that you've brought us into this world. Therefore, because you've brought us into this world, we deserve a better life. Because you are our God. We look up to you, our God, you are our government. But up to the certain age. After that age, you are on your own. You are an adult. An adult is all about responsibility. But most of the people that have failed to achieve things that they want to achieve, they tend to be entitled. They tend to look up to someone else. No one is God. When you're an adult, you are God. Government is not God. It's not your parent. Your parents are not God. You are God. The only person that's supposed to deliver the freedom, to deliver success, is you. Therefore, the entitlement, you are entitled against yourself, not against another human being. Therefore, you need to look deep within yourself, so that what is it that I haven't done? Why am I poor? You need to ask yourself those questions. Why am I poor? Why I don't have a roof over my head? Why I don't have all these things? Therefore, if I don't have all these things, I have failed in life. If I have failed in life, what else can I do? But no, government is going to bring anything for you. Even when you have gone to the educational system, some of the people, they believe that I've gone to school. Because I've gone to school, I've done lower primary, high school, tertiary, I deserve a job. That doesn't mean that you deserve a job. When you have graduated, it means that now you're in a position of competing. You can compete, because as an engineer, you are not supposed to study engineering for employment. You're supposed to study engineering so that you can bring solution to South Africa. The question, in your life, what solution are you bringing? As I usually say, that there are two things in life: it's problem and solution. There are people that are here to bring solution, and those that are bringing the problem. The question, which side do you belong to? Do you belong to the side of the problem, whereby that you're waiting for someone else to bring the solution, or you are the person that is bringing the solution to this world? So to me, it's a matter of people, they must sit down and do some introspection. Where am I?
Wow. So, folks, when you do a diagnostics, where do you think, where do we think that this level of entitlement, and I mean, look, so I have a bit of a story to share. So when I went into the workplace, I realized that I was really entitled. I had this level of entitlement that because I worked so hard at school and stuff like that, that I came into the working environment demanding respect. And so as a consequence, if you can expect me to give you an answer, then you must give me all the information. You know what I mean? And so I expected everything there, because that at school told me that they would never want anything from me unless they would given it to me hidden somewhere. But that's not how life works, The problem, the person who wants the answer does not give you the information on how to get the answer. You know what I mean? And so me and my boss had this. We used to fight. You want a report? You have never taught me how to give me a report. You're supposed to do this for me. You're supposed to look after me. I am your student. You know what I mean? This is what I demand from you. And he doesn't understand why he would pay me and still be obligated to feed me or spoon feed me, if you will. And so I had this whole dependency syndrome that came to me, and we had a very, very bad 3 to 6 months. until I understood him. And I thought that, okay, fine, I'm gonna be the one who's unhappy, so let me adapt. But I never knew that when I was adapting, I was transforming from this person who was entitled and dependent to a person who was a free thinker, who began to question things and try to find my own way through. So what do you think really causes a level of entitlement in people?
It's caused by the way we are socialized, right? As you correctly point that, the schooling system, actually prepares you for the world that does not exist.
Listen to that. The schooling system prepares you for a world that doesn't exist.
It's like the schooling system is this mean system that actually tricks you into thinking that the world owes you something. So right now,
So because I have a degree,
exactly, you are someone very important.
It's more like
yes,
you said to me, going back to
Yeah.
now, you said to me, I must go to school.
Yeah. And I
You
did.
said to me, and I did it. You said to me, I must go to school. Now that I've done all that you've told me to do, because from grade 1, you've been receiving instructions. You've been receiving instructions all of your life. All of a sudden now,
you must think.
I must think, come
myself.
on.
Hey, but,
And
yeah, good one.
Here's another thing,
Yeah.
right? And on top of that, there is millions others who did not do what you said must be done, but I did it.
I did it.
Therefore, you should
Reward
pay me some
me.
respect because I did it. When
I'm special.
when other people did not do it, I
Yes.
did it. When other people failed, I passed. When other people quit, I did not quit. I continued studying up until I graduated. Therefore, world, you owe me a job, you owe me a good salary, you owe me travel allowance, you owe me this and that and that. That doesn't exist in the
I
real
have
world.
obeyed all the orders.
That doesn't exist in the real world. Right?
Guess what?
the school
When you are
system.
employed, if you are to ask people, how much are you earning? And listen to their answer. I earn 50 rand per hour. The question, are you being paid per hour for time, or are you being paid for value? As a result, people, they don't know that the reason I am employed, I'm supposed to be bringing value to work. They think the only thing that I need to show up, I need to be there at 8 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, no, I'm done. I'm supposed to be here at 8 until 5.
You know what would make the world a better place? Okay? And this would actually act like, we always talk about how the jungle actually works, right? When the lion is going out to hunt, right? The lion goes after the weakest. You understand? It's nature's way of getting rid of the weak and the lame. You understand?
Yeah.
So the lion is not going to look for the strongest. Because the strongest, the gene of the strongest, is the one that's actually there to perpetuate that species.
To be able to exist.
You understand? It must procreate. You understand? So that's a strong gene. But the weak and the lame, if it were people who would say full of excuses, you understand? The lion goes after that one.
Woo. So the victims, aish.
So
What do you
imagine if we were to treat it this way and say, instead of people being employees, let everyone be a corporation. Let everyone be a company. You understand? So, if I call, let's say this is my.
That's deep. That's deep, no.
So if I call
Saying that
you,
people
yeah,
be a corporation.
yeah.
Do we have people that are ready for that?
Instead of you being an employee, right? Instead of you being employees, they become companies, right? So if I call you,
So you partner.
yes,
Yes.
Okay.
yes. So if I call you and I say, come and fix my internet, right? My internet is slow, whatever the case, and I say you must come, and you're a company, right? And then you come, you spend the whole day trying to find the problem, don't find the problem, you don't expect me to pay you at the end of the day. It's not my problem that you spend the whole day and you could not find the problem. I pay you for results. I don't pay you for the time. In fact, for me, you are a nuisance. staying the whole day in my house, right, and not being able to fix the problem. I would rather you come and spend 2 minutes. I don't care how much you charge me if it's market related, right? So that's how the world works. You understand? So, but now if that person is an employee, he comes and he spends 1 hour, right? Someone employs him. He spends, the whole day looking to try and find the problem, and he doesn't find the problem. Guess what? When it's lunchtime, that person is gonna go to lunch. You understand? When it's tea time, that person is gonna go to tea time. And at the end of the day, that person expects to be paid by their employer.
Because they're right.
Because they're right. Even though they did not deliver on what they were supposed to deliver.
Okay, so that is why there's a level of entitlement that is attached to this fact that you need to be paid for your presence.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because I'm there, because I come to work every single morning, whether or not I'm...
In fact, I mean, we've all worked.
Yeah.
People want to be paid even if they're not present. A person will come to work, they will make sure that they don't come very late. I mean, they don't come late, right? But when it comes to China time, if you knock off at 4:30, by 4 o'clock, they've already packed up everything.
You're done working.
They're just waiting. You understand? So that 1 hour, that hour and a half or half an hour, they're not working. They expect, so imagine if your boss were to look at that and not say anything, right? But make note of every hour, compile that, and at the end of the month, when they get their salary, the boss deducts all those 30 minutes. Right? You go to the bathroom, instead of you spending maybe 5 minutes, you spend 30 minutes, we deduct that. Like we have a fair allowance, right? So instead of you coming at 8 o'clock, you come in at 8:30. We don't say nothing, right? We don't make you run for coming at 8 o'clock or 8:30, but we'll simply deduct all the hours you are not productive, right? We monitor you. Okay, you spend 1 hour on Facebook, laughing at memes and stuff like that. We deduct that. What do you think would happen at the end of the day when those people are getting the salary and they get the shock of their life? They will protest.
That's what real life is about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man.
So how do you think your boss is going to be able to pay you if you did not? See, this is not. It's not fair compensation. You understand? You give your labor, and you're supposed to get due and fair compensation. So if you don't give it, you understand, to the best of your ability, how then do you expect the employer to pay you your full salary?
Like I remember, there was this kid, was a year older than me. He was white, and when I came in there, they told me, like when I came in, my fellow black colleagues told me that there's a lot of favor on this young one. Like everybody, they favor white people. It's a white company and stuff like that, And this guy was getting paid more than the people on his level that are black, but he was getting paid more. And the same thing. So when I came in there, I came in with this thing of, hey, this guy. But you know what? That guy, and very few of us really looked at this fact, this guy was the most competent amongst all of us. That guy took work home, we didn't. That guy, he went the extra mile. If he had to work on the weekend, he did. The bosses were able to ask him for favors, not hours. Because that's allowed Monday to Friday. Friday is family time. He didn't have it. And I only see this now. Like I only see this now that I left the company. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, this boy knew a lot of things that and people are saying, no, but the company is grooming him. But I realized that no, the company wasn't that the company was grooming him. He worked some of his lunch. I know that. When I got to work, I used to get to work sometimes at 6:30. I find him there. Doing work. He was carrying a bigger load. And so obviously he was, you know what I mean? Now, people on his level, they were not doing that. I did not do that. You know what I mean? And so, but I felt I was entitled. When we heard that he had a bigger salary, and you just look at small things, you look at the fact that the buggy, this guy is driving the buggy of a owner, and this one can't afford it. You know what I mean? And in fact, one of the guys actually was able to get in and see the salaries and what he was able to do, and there was this salary gap, and so he felt wronged. He felt wronged. How could they do this to me? I'm technically more qualified than this guy. I got my bachelor's before this guy did. I have more experience than this guy did. You know what I mean? And all of us were like, yeah, this guy's so, but now I'm thinking about, no, it is not it. We felt entitled because we needed to become. So I feel like this generation right now is more entitled than any other generation. That's what I feel like. Do you know why? Because when I listen to you guys speak, you never look at yourself as a victim of apartheid. And you probably experienced in obviously, you know, if you are in early 80s, late 70s, you have experienced a bit of apartheid. If you go to your parents right now, how much of apartheid and racism and ill treatment do you hear from them? Probably very little. Yet they experienced it. Man on man. But they would say that tough times produces tough people. And so therefore they don't see themselves as victims of a system. But they take pride in surviving through those difficult times. They might not have come with an economic victory.
Sure. This is powerful.
You know? They don't come up with the economic victory, but they see them. And so that is why they will never address themselves as people who are victims of a particular system. In fact, you go back to the old people, they'll tell you, hey, it looks like it was better back then. You know what I mean? Because their instinct to fight for survival was much more back then. You know what I mean? They did not feel that they deserved certain things. This is why I'm sure your grandmother had income, but she was selling. She did not feel that this, you know what I mean? My grandmother today, I'm practically begging her to stop selling. Like, okay, fine, we're gonna work out a plan, she's gonna stop selling. She's old, she's 70. She still wakes up, puts her goods in the trolley, goes to the nearest local school and starts selling there. She doesn't need to. But there's something within her that does not allow her to become a victim of circumstance. And so I feel like because we never experienced it as a generation, you know, we didn't experience the fight. We have to become victims.
So even if we become imaginary victims.
Yeah. That's what entitlement. Like, because my father was denied this, I'm here to claim it. You know what I mean? Because my mom was denied this, I am here to claim it. I am the educated one who's going to tell you A, B, and C, and D of what I deserve this thing. Whereas those, they fought their fight.
We are opinionated. We're not afraid to tell it to your face.
Yeah. We are strong. You know what I mean? Now tell it in your face. That's the generation of right now. They tell it in your face.
Are we solution driven? That's the thing. But the problem is always you don't think about the journey, think about an outcome. Because going out there and fight, what outcome am I expecting? Because sometimes we tend to act without thinking about an outcome. And the same with the condition. We're sitting here with Lonwabo, grew up at NU9. The conditions are saying you are not supposed to come out of NU9. Nothing is expected to come out of NU9. As a result, 99% of people that grew up sensitive to Lonwabo, if they've reached a metric, I'll be lying. Majority of them, at least primary they did well, but high school there and there because of the condition. The same condition that we're exposed to is the same condition that Lonwabo was exposed to. But Lonwabo used those conditions to be where he is today. As a result, when he shared his story, always look back and say that I am because of those conditions. Not because the conditions were good, I am because of those conditions. Going back, if I were to share my story, I grew up in an environment that I didn't like. My dad, when I was still 6, was my role model until I was exposed that my dad was abusive to my mom. My dad was abusing alcohol. My dad, I would have fun with my dad during the week, but weekends, he was a different person because he'll be drunk. As a result, at some stage, if my dad is not at home, I can't sleep until my dad comes back. Because if I sleep, my dad will come and cause a havoc. I have to wake up. And because I was exposed in this environment of this father that is abusive to my mom, to his kids, I took a decision in that environment because what I saw from my dad, I said that what I've learned from you, I don't want to be like you. I am the person I am today, not because I saw something that I like. I saw something that I hated. As a result, that drive made the person that I am, and I took a decision that I will never lift a hand to a woman. I will never abuse my kids. And I thank God for my father. Because if it was not because of my father, chances the history could have repeated itself. But I was exposed to that environment. But you'll find people that are abusive to their spouse. And they will say that it's because I grew up in an environment, in an abusive environment. Same conditions produces different products. But the question, in that environment, what product are you? You can choose to, you can choose, but I've learned not to learn from you. I've learned not to learn from the environment. Sometimes, chances, if Lonwabo didn't grow up in that environment, he couldn't be the person that he is today. Thank God for that Nkuku. We are not saying that that's the way things are supposed to be. But that Nkuku created the person that he is today. Chances he could have been a spoiled brat. But he decided, no. Because of an environment that I am, I hated the environment. Sometimes you need to check the environment and ask yourself. Sometimes you become immune to the environment, and the environment end up unaware, create the person that we are. But if you know the environment, quickly define the environment and the awareness of an environment, and ask yourself what this environment is creating out of me. And the outcome that this environment is creating out of me, do I like that outcome? If I don't like that outcome, let me change my thinking of the environment or my behavior. But the problem, most of the people, they don't dig deep. They are not even aware that they are sinking. Before you know, they are deep, and now they are crying foul. Not because of an environment, it's because they were not aware of the environment.
You use the word, Mzi, that a lot of people don't really want to use, and that is choice. Choice. So, grew up in Motherwell, right? As you rightfully say, nobody goes to high school. If they do, they're not going to get to matric, right? So, I grew up in that environment. And when I made a choice to do different, everybody made fun of me. Everybody made fun of me. It's like I was mad, right? Going to a technical college, carrying my huge T-square. People, I used to, my home was in front of a shop. So, and all the guys like to sit around there, right? And everyone who's selling will sell around there, right? So when I go home, everybody sees me. Right? And people will make fun. But I made a choice that I know where I don't like this environment. And I can cry and say, why did I grow up here? And I said, why didn't I grow up in town or wherever? And I said, I could have cried and played victim, right? I made a choice that, okay, so my parents could not, for whatever reason, could not be able to raise me in an area that I would have loved. I find myself here. I made a choice. And that choice was, I don't want this environment. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of this environment, right? And how long did it take me? Years, right? Think of it this way. I was thinking about this the other day. With all the challenges I faced, right? I did N1, N2, N3. That was, I started, on the second trimester. So meaning I did my N3 the following year. So, with N3, in fact, N4, I could have went and found a job, you understand? And, but I told myself, this is the direction that I'm going to take, right? Everything around was like, if I decided to quit or didn't even go to school and go and be a petrol attendant, it was not going to be something that's going to be strange. You're not collecting. You understand? Even in my family, no one was going to say to me, "Hi, Bo, you understand? We expect more of you." No one was going to say that. No one. But I made a choice. You understand? So was the choice easy? Definitely not.
Sure.
You understand? Was there, did I encounter any problems along me? Being focused on my journey? Plenty, right? So when I did my first year, things were tough. My second year, I had to do in-service training. Things were a little better. I was getting 1.5 a month. I could have stayed and not gone back to school. You understand? Because I had a lot of things to take care of. You understand? I had to take care of my grandmother and so forth. But I decided to actually stick to the course. So that's what I was saying yesterday, that you don't make the choice once. You make the choice up until the choice makes you. You make the decision up until the decision makes you. You understand? So me sticking to that decision actually made me.
So that decision you don't make it once?
No. Every single day, right? So, I had a million excuses, bro, to quit. I had a million excuses to quit.
And remember those excuses, and that is what I'm trying to get to right now, that sometimes the victim story is not a lie, it's a truth.
Yeah.
It's a reality.
Yeah.
Like Nyani, like you know what I mean? Like there were real problems that you were facing.
Yeah.
And so, because a lot of people will think that when you're saying that you have these are excuses, right? So we had a conversation today where you say that there are certain things that you hear from people, and in the back of your mind you're saying these are excuses. You're not saying that these are lies. And a lot of people don't understand that that we cannot use the past experience as excuses. We're not saying that they did not, but they did happen. But we refuse to be products of those situations. Like that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're refusing to come out of those situations as victims instead of victors.
Yeah. So I wish we had more time. We ran out of time for today. So this thing of, you remember the toys for free education and stuff like that, as much as I understand where people are coming from, but I'm like, we are setting up this whole generation that was fighting for free education. We are setting them up for an even bigger failure, for an even bigger disappointment, right? So if we say everything is free, go to school. You understand what you want to study? Medicine, 5. You do your first year, you fail, you can go and change and do another one, and do, you understand? And there's no consequence for that, right? It's fine, right? And if they decide to actually continue and actually graduate, so we can do that. But the reason why I'm saying that we're setting them up for an even bigger failure is because of the fact that when these guys graduate, they're going to demand jobs.
Yes.
They're going to demand jobs just like they demanded free education. So the question is, when there are no jobs, because the people who actually provided the free education cannot provide free jobs. The government cannot provide jobs. The government is not the employer.
And so because of the lack of, because even the people funding bursaries mostly are private people. And so it just gives you an indication that there's less funding coming in. There's probably less demand for people to come and do it.
Exactly.
Maybe for the next topic, we need to engage on the matter what makes the first world country a first world country. Is the first world country made by the government or the people? But that's what we need to engage on. Because if you go to US, you find how competent those people are.
Yeah.
Not only the government, but US people are competent. And the same Hollywood that they have in the acting industry, we do have that acting industry. What makes it different with our acting industry and their acting industry?
We have strikes in our industry. People wanting more pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure if a strike in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I think we need to engage.
That's You make me, yeah, this is interesting, Mzi. I mean, if you recall, when we were in the US, you see how this lackadaisy approach people have in their jobs. You know, you go to department of this or department of that. You know, people take, I don't know, 1 hour lunches or 2 hour lunches. But you can see that even when they're helping you, you know, of course there is exceptions. There is those few individuals who actually do their jobs with the best of their
Yes.
ability. But you'll find that in the main, right, you know, everybody is just, you know, but when you go to other countries, specifically now, let's talk about the US, like people happen to be, I don't know whether, and I don't think it's got anything to do with how much money they get paid. I think it's got everything to do with them understanding that, you know, them having that job is a privilege, right? And they have to perform, you know, to the best of their ability. Because if they don't do that, someone else can be able to do the very same job. You understand? So as much as we've got high unemployment in South Africa, you still find people who actually don't appreciate the same job that they have. How do you know they don't? Look at how the attitude they have towards, you know, their co-workers, their work, their customers, and everything, you know, around that. But we don't have much time.
Yeah.
So, wow, I think today was quite an interesting session. So, thank you very much, guys, for tuning and watching, you know, with us, joining, you know, us today. So, guys, any topic that you feel like you want us to discuss, that you have a suggestion that you know you would want us to actually tackle, you know, we'll really appreciate your input and your feedback. After all, we do this, you know, for you guys. You know, we try to you know, discuss topics that we think, you know, can be impactful on our lives and on your lives as well. So if you do have any topics that you want to discuss, you're more than welcome to actually comment in the comment section and tell us what topics you would want us to discuss next. So with that being said, guys, thank you very much for joining us at the Success Factory podcast. And you know, remember, the bottom is overcrowded. Let's all reach for the top. Cheers. Love you all.
Yeah.
I call it.
pushed for one last time. No more falls and no more climb. I don't want to be the shadow of the bigger picture. It makes me shallow. So I'm gonna stay out of the midnight shine against the night sky. Fight back and never go hide. I'm gonna stay right on the bright side. Stay out of the midnight shine against the night sky. Fight back and never go hide. I'm gonna stay right on the bright side. Stay right on the bright side. I'm gonna stay right on the bright side. Stay out of the midnight shine against the night sky. Fight back and never go hide. I'm gonna stay right on the bright side. With one last lie, I'm gonna float and start to dry. I don't want to be the shadow of the bigger people that make me shallow. So I'm gonna stay out of the midnight shine against the night sky. Fight back and never go hide. I'm gonna stay right on the bright side. Stay out of the midnight shine against the night sky. Fight back and never go hide. I'm gonna stay right on the bright side. I'm gonna stay in the bright side.
Bitcoin.
In the bright side.